Hey everyone, Deathclock1637 here, and I'm just going to bring you an update on this article that I read. I felt it was worthy making at least a short video on, and there's sort of three buckets of things that it covers here. So, in more broad terms, it's looking at Diablo as a franchise that includes what happened with Immortal, Diablo 3, and all the speculation that we've had over time about the canceled second expansion and Diablo 4. And then it also looks at the Activision Blizzard business and sort of takes a deeper dive into that, as well as accounts from people looking at the sort of corporate culture. And I'm going to focus more on the Diablo stuff and just try to touch on that because there's a lot going on here. The article, as you can see, is titled Past, Present, and Future of Diablo by Jason Schreier, a reliable source. He's the guy who leaked Fallout 76 correctly. So it starts off by saying, they released Diablo Immortal. It was pretty bad. It felt like, at least to a lot of the community, that the PC audience was ignored. And then you go down and it sort of uses that as a touch point to Diablo 3's launch, and going on to talk about sort of how it was redeemed by most people, and then suggesting, okay, are they actually working on Diablo 4? So essentially, the story goes that, according to the article, there was a second Diablo 3 expansion in the works, but they chose to scrap it. And the sort of evidence that we had for that, without them directly saying it, was all the stuff that came out after Reaper of Souls, which was just a crazy amount of stuff, right? We even got some key features like, Challenge Rifts, Kenai's Cube, which really broke the game open and opened up a lot of builds. We got a balance patch in 2.6.1. We got a lot of new areas, and we got this insane wealth of things that, if you put it all together, would basically justify an expansion. And then after that, we got Necromancer. So the article goes on to confirm that with some comments allegedly by these people to say, yeah, we were working on it. It got scrapped, and we were stunned by it. They said it was pointing back to Diablo 3's bad launch and the Era 37, how people couldn't get on, and now they were saying that at that time it was irredeemable, so that they should just move on to the next project. Again, bold assumption. I don't know any more information than you do, but that's a pretty strong statement. So again, speaking to the canceled projects, it looks at other canceled projects and uses that as the basis for saying that, okay, well, sure, we've canceled things, but that's just part of Blizzard's, sort of quality standard, in that if we don't believe in it, we're not going to release it. Okay, right. There's a point in here talking about Diablo 4's initial iterations, and that there was a period of time from 2014 to 16 where they were developing the first iteration, and it looked more like a Dark Souls, and even was ditching the isometric camera and going over the shoulder. Apparently this was called Hades, and that got canceled and then rebooted in 2016, and that's the version called Fenris now that they've been working on. And apparently they're pretty excited about it, and this is where it starts to also get kind of juicy, because a lot of people complained that Diablo 3 was cartoony, and they want to. This statement is basically saying that they want to completely get away from that. It's giving it the sort of tone that Diablo 3's kind of tone was something that didn't go over very well, which kind of didn't. People thought it was them sort of abandoning what a Diablo game was and should feel like. And, you know, supposing that this is true, it's a pretty cool thing to do, right? Again, this goes into more speculation of when it'll be out, what kind of elements it'll be will be in it, and also talks about the article that he reported on about a video for BlizzCon talking about Diablo 4, and saying that the announcement didn't happen, and it goes on and on, talking to those points. And again, this quote really kind of sums it up. Our preference is to have a clear announcement plan with some concrete details and hopefully a playable demo when we announce the game. And that kind of goes in sync with what happened and makes a little more sense of why they didn't tell us that D4 was even a thing at BlizzCon, because if they didn't have anything, they obviously didn't feel comfortable enough giving us even a title card without actually letting people like play it like Diablo Immortal was available. So I'm going to leave a link to this in the description, and you can kind of read into it yourself. There's a lot going on, and I know this video is short, but you could spend upwards of an hour, I would say, discussing really the minutiae here. I felt the article was pretty good in capturing all of the things that the community had been talking about, and I would say read it yourself for sure, but sort of take it with a grain of salt, and sort of hold your expectations, because like I said, if this turns out to be true, that's pretty awesome, and I'm really pumped to see kind of what comes next for Diablo, especially if it's a dive into that more gothic feel. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm not going to keep you much longer. I'm going to leave a link to my stream also in the description. You can catch me there tonight and most nights playing Diablo 2 or 3. I'll be on the PTR for as long as it's up, just testing builds. And once again, thank you for sticking around. And I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.